already sold out CPR training programs that are tomorrow. Our students will be performing service activities at 5 different sites in the county. We'll also punctuate that with a little picnic at noontime tomorrow, because of the notion that we are in fact an institution that's engaged with our community. And so the inauguration week was to culminate that. I'm not big on I'm big on celebrations, but I'm not big on a ceremony that focuses on me. And so I'm glad that I get to go back to work next week and to do that stuff. And to make what contributions we can to improving the learning of our students, supporting the learning of our faculty and our staff, and creating an environment for learning for our community.
Now, during your address, you mentioned some of the vision for the future, some of the plans you guys coming up, the strategic plan,
Yep.
the facilities master plan. You mentioned that those are coming up pretty soon. How soon do you guys expect to be there's a town hall meeting for the facilities master plan coming up in the next couple of weeks, and then there will be a town hall meeting towards the end of October with the preliminary results from our consultants with the Pappas Group, and a final report from them in early November. That's with the facilities plan?
The facilities master plan is being done by the Sasaki Group, and that should be mid-October. And then the strategic planning process will have some open meetings. We've been having focus groups and meetings all this week. One of our consultants met with upwards to 75 different faculty members and a similar number of staff to try and get their sense of the future of the institution. So I'm excited about getting us some outside eyes looking at where we might be going.
Now, how far-reaching will the plan be?
The facilities master plan is a broad template that looks out 30 years, that identifies where, based upon demographic climate, where demographic growth might be, what would be the size of the facilities and the nature of the facilities we would have to have to accommodate a student population and a service area over the next 20 to 30 years. Interestingly enough, the group that is conducting the facilities master plan here was one that did the facilities master plan for the University of Massachusetts, from which I graduated. They did that plan 30 years ago, and the last building on that plan 30 years ago at the University of Massachusetts has just been completed. So there it is. It's a group that has a great track record and does very good work in helping institutions think about what their possible futures would be based on data. Right? I mean, higher education knows what its bulk customer base, if you wish to be crude. I think of students as students, but just to count them, they're born 18 years before they get to us. And so we can anticipate, roughly speaking, how many students we'll have to serve by the number of kids that get born in this area today.
Now, as Plain State's 4th official president, what are your goals for increasing student enrollment and maintaining a higher number of student retention?
We were working on those plans yesterday, even before they let me wear the medal. Dr. Mark Dodona, who is heading up our executive group for strategic enrollment planning, has already begun the process of first helping us rethink what enrollment management is. And it's not simply recruiting students, but it's recruiting them. It is identifying places where we might develop partnerships to help us in recruitment. So that might be, for instance, work with selected secondary schools that have historically sent a large number of students to come to attend Clayton State University. It also includes looking at the ways in which we help students support their success and therefore their retention from freshman to sophomore year. It also looks at ways in which we can help students work their way through a success pipeline and graduate from the institution. So enrollment management is not simply talking about growth or bringing people in, but talking about ways in which we can sustain that growth strategically by helping students succeed. It is, in our way of thinking, far better to recruit a student and have that student stay through graduation than to recruit students who aren't able to succeed and have to then recruit somebody else to come in the next year.
President Hines, what are your goals for communication and media study majors here? Because we need more like hands-on experience dealing with the outside media. So do you have any visions for that?
I have visions for academic activities in general, and so the discussions about planning, about modifications, about review of what we do currently in a specific department, generally speaking, would start with that department working with their dean or their college. And under the guidance of the University Provost Office, the Vice President for Academic Affairs, we've received some data that suggests that the department that you've mentioned is one in which the students have expressed fairly clearly a need to review the current curriculum and a need to reflect on some or a few or many changes in what the outcomes of that curriculum would be. That's the work of academic affairs. And so my charge is to basically talk with the division heads, the vice presidents, and say, help us frame conditions for excellence in academic affairs and student affairs, in business and finance and operations, in information technology, in university advancement, and with me craft some direction or plans for those activities. And then those divisions will be responsible in making successful specific changes in specific programs that help them guide those larger goals. So my goals are more general. They are to say we must do good things. Our efforts must achieve excellence. If we have to make choices, how do we make those choices? What evidence do we use to say these are places where many more resources must be invested? These are places in which perhaps we're not going to invest as much as we have. So that's where those conversations will have. That's not to push the dice, the buck here off to Dr. Crafton. The buck really does end in the president's office, but we need to give the vice presidents an opportunity for their divisions to be successful in terms that they establish, and they're very good. I have a great leadership group.
What is your vision overall for academics at this university?
The general description was given in the presentation that the academic vision, assuming, and it begins with an assumption that anything we do must be done well, and any definition of doing well must involve learning, measurement of learning success for our students, knowledge of what is essential to be learned by our faculty, that is done in consultation with our community and with the broader discussion in the discipline. I believe that excellence in areas of business and finance, talk about having the most effective operations that we can to provide essential services to students, faculty, and staff on the campus and the community where they are the receivers of service. Again, the vision is the framework for the vision was in those 3 points. We have an obligation to prepare a new generation of citizens. That includes traditional learning, but it also includes notion of accepting and embracing the diversity of the 21st century and the 21st century workplace. It also talks about seeing if we can cultivate some excitement in our students in participating in being the next generation of community leaders. The vision also talks about the creation of partnerships in which we work together with others to do better. The vision certainly talks about wise and strategic choices in a world in which we don't have enough resources to do everything.
Now, in terms of the last 5 years, there's been a lot of development on this campus in the area of just campus life.
Yes.
Adding new dorms on campus, the student activity center. How do you guys keep the momentum going?
Keep on keeping on, I think is the line. One of the things that's involved in both the facilities master planning process and the strategic planning process is a campus-wide conversation of the role of residence life and residential experience in the broader picture of the university. And so the strategies and tactics that we will use to, as you say, keep the momentum going for residence life, at least the framework for answering that question will come out of our strategic thinking processes.
David Wilson, ClaytonStateRadio.com General Manager and also DJ.
David, glad you're here.
Oh, most definitely. One thing that CSR, ClaytonStateRadio.com loves to do is play music, but more than that, play the music that all of you love. And the only way to do that is by knowing what you like. So, Dr. Hines, President Hines, I would like to know what type of music you like, as genre, and also... I'm sorry, no problem.
Yeah, but